Can I taste your juice?
Well, hey there, hi there, and ho there, folks. PBusardo. I'm wearing a Good Life Vapor t-shirt. Actually, no, I'm not. This is kind of like my shirt. Taste your juice, right? And I just kind of put the sticker over it like that. Good Life Vapor. Are we ever going to get back to these reviews? Yes, we are. I promise you. As a matter of fact, tomorrow I'm going to cut the sub-tank review. I got like a whole bunch of them on a rack, okay? And we're going to talk about all these. I'm going to break the heads down. I'm going to eliminate some. I'm going to score them. And just, do what we do. I don't know if it's going to be like a detailed review or just kind of like a little side-by-side comparison, but we are going to do that. What else are we going to do? After that, we're going to do the SX Mini. Okay, let me give you my initial my initial impression of the SX Mini. Okay, I think it's of course, you're going to have to wait for the review to find out more. Okay, so the SX Mini's coming up. But before we do those videos, I wanted to put this one out here, and this is my little trip to Good Life Vapor. I was invited by Jeremy Dollar. Jeremy Dollar, the CEO. The man over there at Good Life Vapor. I've known Jeremy for quite some time. I mean, I found out about him, I think, social media back when he was DIYing. And then he came out with a product that he started to sell, and I got some in for review. And the first one that I reviewed that I really liked was the melon boba, which is kind of like a melon with like just a little hint. And I talked to him about this too while I was there. He was the first one that I tried who actually got hint of menthol right, because sometimes you get a juice that says hint of menthol and all you taste is like menthol or mint. But his hint of menthol was really good in the melon boba. Tried a couple other ones, some I liked, some I didn't, and then I found his Deadly Sin, and I absolutely fell in love with that liquid, and I still crave that e-liquid, and I still use it to this day. As a matter of fact, I have a bottle sitting right here. This is the Deadly Sin, the Dimitri and PBusardo version of that. Very funny, Jeremy. As a matter of fact, I even went back on YouTube to take a look at the first review that I did for Good Life Vapor, and it was back on December 8th, 2012. Okay, so these guys have been around for a while. And the Deadly Sin review was done December 17th, 2013. Okay, and now it's 2015. So Jeremy invited me and my wife down to tour the facility and have a little vape meet at one of his two shops. Now, I don't know if you guys follow any of my travel adventures, okay, but lately, every time I get into an airplane, there is an issue. This one was absolutely no exception. So the goal was to fly from Rochester, New York to Atlanta, Georgia to Albany, Georgia. That was the goal. Well, the plane went from Rochester, New York to Atlanta, Georgia, and then it couldn't land because of weather conditions. So it went around and around and around to Chattanooga. Okay, Chattanooga, a home of my pal Dimitri, who was in China at the time. So I called up Connie, his wife. I said, Connie, do me a favor. I said, we're stuck here. Can you bring some Greek food to the plane? She never showed up. What the hell? So yeah, we had to sit on the tarmac for like 1 hour, 2 hours, waiting for the refueling truck to come out to us because they didn't have a gate for us. The refueling truck comes, and then the truck with the stairs that goes up to the plane, that truck comes too, right? Because they have to do paperwork. All right, so they get the stairs up, the refuel truck finally comes, fuels up, goes away, and then the truck with the stairs doesn't go away. Why? Because the truck stalled and they couldn't get it started again. So now we have to wait for a whole bunch of guys to come and get the truck and push the truck away from the... I'm telling you, it's just like, it's one thing after the other. It's like it's been every single event. So... we finally get back in the air. We go to Atlanta. At this point, it's way too late to catch the connection or any other flight to Albany, Georgia, which is like the tiniest little airport that I've ever seen. So Jeremy had to drive 2.5 hours to Atlanta to come get us and then drive us to the hotel. Thank you, Jeremy, for that. Of course, I also blame you for the weather conditions in Atlanta. But it was good. It was good for me because I got a chance to just talk to Jeremy for like 2.5 hours. And I know him. We've been friends, or more acquaintances than friends. We meet and we talk at the vape events, but this time I really got a chance to talk to him, and I kind of like everything that he said. Okay, you know, look, all vendors are in it to make money. If you're not, you're crazy. Why else would you do things, right? But there's those vendors that are in it to make money, but also do things the right way, or at least try very, very hard to do things the right way. And there's those vendors who are in it for money and they have no idea what the right way is. I think Jeremy is one of those guys who does do things the right way, not only with his e-liquid production, but also with how he operates his shop. And the people that I met there, the folks that I talked to, both his staff and the people who came into the shop, were all just some really, really fantastic people. I think Jeremy is kind of blessed with a really, really good staff. So he allowed me to bring the cameras into the mixing facility. He allowed me to bring the cameras right into the lab. Okay, so we're going to see all that starting, well, right about now. Oh, and by the way, the girl mixing the e-liquids, or actually she was filling bottles at this point, in the lab, her name is DJ. We're going to hear from her a whole lot more too. So let's get right to it.
But the way it's all set up like a kitchen, they have the, when you first enter, you have the flavors.
Okay.
And then you have the blending station here. And then it moves over to where you got nicotine PGVG over in the corner. You have your flavor shots that are prepared up here to where they can, if they need something right then, they can go ahead and mix it up. And then it moves over to the hoppers, moves over to the labels, and then out to the warehouse.
Looks like Dr. Evil in there.
Yeah, there's normally two of them, so she would be either blending and mixing, and then the other one would be filling and labeling.
Okay.
And it's kind of a revolving process. They just do it all day long. When they get to where they're not backed up, they'll just do flavor shots for the next batch.
Okay.
Is it just Sense that she puts them on there? Or?
She has a, yeah, she's using a sensor. She either has a foot switch or a sensor.
Oh, okay.
And they got two hoppers, so that if they need to fill a large order, they can both work at the same time.
Okay. Now that machine, is that machine specifically for e-liquid production, or is it just is it a machine that like is a generic machine to fill bottles?
It's just a filler machine.
Okay.
It's a pneumatic filler machine.
Here she comes. All right, so we just walked into the Good Life Vapor mixing lab here, and here's Jeremy. He's going to tell us all about it.
We have our lab set up like a kitchen,
Okay.
to where we have our ingredients first. So this is all the flavorings. They have it lined up by the companies that we use in alphabetical order. I couldn't tell you how many flavors we have. It's upwards in the thousands now. We try to use every company we can to make every flavor have its own taste.
Right.
You know, the basic ingredients are there, like the creams and things like that. But as far as you know, we love flavor art, the uniqueness of flavor art. Use a lot of TPA, use a lot of Capellas. The only company we don't really go with is we don't use a lot of Flavor West, and we don't use a lot of Loran's.
Okay. Is there a reason why?
Loran's is kind of hit or miss with oil based.
Okay.
So we don't like to use it unless we know that it's not oil based. And for Flavor West, for me, the flavors just aren't there.
Okay.
They're not very accurate. I love the accuracy of TPA, Capella, and Flavor Art.
Okay.
And then they move on to this stage where they use blenders, commercial grade blenders, to aerate the juice and to blend the juice, and it also pre-steeps it.
Okay. So liquids come from you. They really don't need to be steeped. You're taking care of that with this process.
It's usually it goes from here. The blenders actually heat up the mix to a certain point, but it doesn't get to where it's above the level to where Nick will degrade.
Okay.
And then it also aerates, creating a wind tunnel in the middle of the mix, which introduces air into the mix and helps it steep. So it looks like this big glob of like cream when it's done. You can actually see it steep from top to bottom.
Okay, so those are that's the air, the bubbles that are mixed into it. Kind of gives it a creamy color, and then the bubbles work out, and then you have your finished product.
Crystal clear. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
And it'll also, if you put it in clear, by the time it's done steeping, the nick will affect the color to where it's a darker color based on more nick and things like that.
Okay.
So yeah, then over here, that's their PG, VG, and their nicotine. We make our own nicotine here. We use pure nicotine.
Okay. So what do you mean by you make your own nicotine? I mean, you're not making your own,
We
right?
get our nicotine from our supplier, which
Okay.
comes in a pure form, 99.99% pure.
And it's real dangerous at that point.
Very, very dangerous. It's toxic even to breathe in. They put on full chemical gear, and actually DJ is the only one that is allowed to mix it. She has the most experience with it.
Hi, DJ. This is not your full chemical gear?
No, by
No.
no means.
Oh, we really need to see you in your full chemical gear. We really do.
And they get really decked out with it. We're very, very strict on, once they use the nicotine, they're not allowed in the room for 30 minutes after the nicotine is done. And they put it in 55-gallon drums for the nicotine, and then we also have 55-gallon drums that we get from our suppliers.
Okay. So you cut the 99.9% pure nicotine down to what?
Down to
before
100 milligrams.
Down to 100 milligrams before it goes into the drum, and then obviously down further depending on what you're mixing, right?
Right.
Okay. So this is the full gear. And I understand that that's the same thing that you wear after Jeremy goes to the bathroom. Is that true?
Pretty much. Very hard to breathe in this.
Yeah, I bet it would be. So yeah, I mean, has there ever been like an accident where some of that stuff gets on your hand, or everything's been pretty good right now?
No, they use immersion blenders. Once they're using it in 5-gallon batches while they add it to the drum.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of keeps your body at least 3 feet away from the mix itself.
Really?
So yeah, using immersion blenders makes it a little bit more safer.
Okay. And what does 99.9% pure nicotine come in? I mean, does that come in a drum? Does it come in a gallon jug? Was
It
it
comes in liters.
Little leaders.
Yeah.
little liters? Yeah. Okay.
And we have a constant flow. Like we're on schedule with our supplier.
Okay.
So we don't have to ever call and order. Everything that we do now, aside from our flavoring, is all on schedule based.
Okay.
So they go through upwards
Deadly
of
Sin.
500 to 600 gallons of combined nicotine and VGPG a week.
Wow.
So they get freights every week with 55 drums.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So what is this we're looking at here?
This
I
is the
know.
material safety data sheet information.
Okay. For the nicotine?
Yes.
Okay.
So they have their standard operating procedures for the lab that they go by.
Okay.
So
Yeah, it's dangerous stuff, the pure. So, and is this where you do your mad scientist stuff? I mean, is this where you?
this is the only area of the entire facility that is mine.
Okay.
This is right over
So
there.
take me over there and tell me what goes on there. Because you are the only mix artist for Good Life, right? You're the only one who's mixing the flavors.
Yep. Basically, I'll put in an order with whoever, and then we'll add in whatever we don't have.
Okay.
So I'll use stock from over there for our TPA stuff, and then this is all stuff that I'm currently about to get into, pretty much.
Okay.
All this is just sample stuff. I'll go through with my recipe books, and that's the magic book. That's where it started.
That's the magic book, right?
Yep.
Wow. And is that the same book that's been with you since day one?
Day one.
Really?
Yep.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
And I'll go through and I'll mix it up, and I mix in 30 milliliter batches for myself,
Okay.
and then we'll take that, and if I like it, it'll spread to DJ. If DJ likes it, it'll spread to the lab.
Okay.
And we'll pick some customers at the shop. So it goes through about a 2-month testing process for that one particular juice.
Okay.
And if it passes all the tests, it steeps out good. It vapes good on everything that we tried on, dripper, tank. Then it goes into production.
Okay. So, I mean, it's not like, so how many flavors do you have at this point?
At this point, I think we're up to
87 at last count,
87 at last
not
count.
including what is retail only.
Right,
Yeah, so
okay.
it's above 90 when it comes to retail because we do things like regular cigarette and menthol cigarette.
Okay.
And things like that.
But I mean, you still to this day, even though you have this many flavors, it's not like you're rushing flavors out. I mean, you put a lot of time and effort into the flavors that you're
We
creating.
will
right?
have 18 flavors up for testing. Maybe 1 to 2. 2 max will make it
Okay.
to the line. And even then, I don't like releasing more than 2 at a time, and it's about every other month when things get released. So I want it to be the full vape experience. Even if it's something I don't like, I force myself to vape it to understand the juice.
Yeah,
So
that's
I can
really
describe
important,
it,
right.
you know, once it hits your palate, once it hits the back of your tongue, I can describe it in length of what it
Right.
is. I have the palate that allows me to at least appreciate
Right.
a good juice.
Right.
I might not like it, but I can appreciate the actual vape process of
Right.
it.
So this station that we're at right now, do you still enjoy it? Do you still, I mean, at this point, you know, coming out with this many flavors, being involved in the artist collection, do you still enjoy doing new flavors and coming up with new stuff and
I love
experimenting?
the fact that the market is so saturated because it kind of creates more of a challenge to me to create something original. So to me, I love coming in here and coming up with off the wall, weird flavors, even down to some simple flavors, just making them better.
Making them better, right?
You know, our most recent release was one called the OC. It was actually one that DJ recommended. I came in, I sat down. She said, "You need to make an orange cream." That's been done a million times. She said, "Yeah, but not right."
Yeah.
So we worked on one, and it turned out to be this mandarin orange cream, not a standard candy orange cream. It's brilliant. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
So take things back to the roots at some
Right.
sometimes. You don't want to go, in my opinion, I don't want to go off the wall all the time.
Right. Right.
Because
Yeah,
at the end of the
some-
day, you know, the palate, I don't want to overwhelm somebody's palate and make it to where they can't put their finger on what it is.
Right. And, you know, I think there's, in a way, flavors have become two different varieties, right? There's the flavor that, okay, it's watermelon, I could wrap my head around it, I understand it, and you know what, it's delicious. But then here's this other flavor that, well, it's got bits of this and bits of that, and it's very, very complex, and it's nice. Sometimes I just want to wrap my head around a flavor, right?
Yeah, and it's also, to me, I like the process of flavor manipulation, to making it to where I can get a watermelon without using watermelon flavoring. I
Right.
can use other flavors to mold it into what I'm going for.
Right, and you know, I mean, that's a perfect example. And you know, we talk about mixed artists because you guys are artists. The good ones are, anyway, in my opinion. Because you might take a watermelon that's an okay watermelon, but you add something stupid like bubble gum, and all of a sudden it's like a 10 times better watermelon. So you're always kind of looking for that other ingredient that you can add on top of something to make it that much better. And it could be something totally off the wall, something you wouldn't expect.
Right, and I relate it to something like cooking. If you have a baker that has cake batter, only the flour for the cake. If you put that in the oven, you bring it out, it's still just flour.
Right.
You have to add the egg, the sugar, the milk, the other ingredients to make it a cake.
Right.
So that's how I look at mixing. You know, you have to have, for a strawberry, it's not just a strawberry. There's the sweet side, there's the sour side, there's the way that it tingles on your tongue.
Right.
Is it refrigerated? Is it not refrigerated?
Right.
So
You know, the tip, the end of the strawberry tastes a whole lot different from the other side of the strawberry where it connects to the
Right.
vine or the stem,
little
right?
white part before
Yep.
you get to the vine.
Yep,
you know?
absolutely.
So it's not looking at it from a point of view of just, let me see strawberry. You know, there's 20 different kinds of strawberries
Right.
flavor wise. But it's not necessarily about the strawberry flavoring. It's about the other things that round out that flavor.
Right. So a little bit later on, I'm going to actually sit you down and we'll do a full on interview and we'll find out where Jeremy came from and how he started. But how long have you been mixing now?
Oh man, since June of 2012.
June of 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The company started in August.
Yeah.
I mixed for a few months beforehand.
Right.
So yeah, it's and I used to mix. I think I still mix as much as I used to. You know, I give myself mental breaks to get new creative ideas. I come from the background of a musician and a writer of songs, so it's all about the creativity to me.
Right.
You know, if I'm not being creative, if I have writer's block, I don't sit there and force myself to come up with something because I don't. In my opinion, you can't force creativity.
Right. Just walk away and sometimes it magically comes to you. Yeah.
I hear people say all the time, "Oh, I worked on this juice for months, for 8 months." I say, "Man, I get to version 2. If it's just not there, I'll throw it away and start over."
All right. Very cool. More of this interview coming up in a little bit. So I find it interesting that your name is DJ and you mix, but not records. You mix e-liquids. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So how long have you been with Good Life Vapor?
Coming up on 2 years in August.
2 years? And how many other people are usually in this room with you? When
Just me and Kenny.
Just you and Kenny? And you're the only ones allowed in here, or yeah? Okay. And do you
Well,
like
Jeremy, of course, but
Do you like your job?
Oh, I love my job.
Are you a vapor?
Yes.
Yeah? How long you been vaping?
2 years.
2 years? Okay, so you didn't start vaping because of the job, did you?
No.
Okay, so you were a
I had
smoker
actually quit, a week before, and then I came to Jeremy. I was like, I'm cigarette free, like,
Yeah.
for a week now, and he was like, come see me.
And how did you hook up with Jeremy?
DJ ran poker games.
Okay, wait, I gotta get this story. Go ahead.
She ran poker games.
Really?
I would go play poker, and I would be the only vapor in the entire building. Everybody else smoked. So it kind of caught on with her, where she's like, "Hey, what is this? What is this stuff you're doing?" And then
I stole
think
my
I
little
directed
brother's.
you-
That he got one of the little pins from the curb store,
Yeah.
and he had a strawberries and cream in it. I kept smelling it, and I was like, that smells so good. So I stole one of his, and didn't touch a cigarette after that. A week later, I was like, Jeremy,
Just like
just
that.
with this, no
every,
problem.
Yeah.
And every week with poker, I would bring her new juice and be like, "You gotta try this. Gotta try this."
So DJ's going to walk us through some of the equipment that we see here in this lab. Where do you want to start? You're the expert in here, so.
I guess we can just do start with you and just walk it all the way through.
Okay, so that loud noise was the
That's
air.
the fan. It
That's
blows everything off and keeps it off from coming in the room.
right. Okay, so we're working on ISO compliance for this room.
Right.
So we don't have it yet.
Right.
But you have everything pretty much in place at this
It's
point.
all in order. We're just
Okay.
last details.
So run me through the process, okay?
All right, first thing we do, you're fine. I go ahead and I have flavor shots. This is all our flavoring that goes in to make one blender full, which is 2,000 mils of juice.
Okay.
These have no nicotine in them, no nothing. I take these and I pour them into the 2,000 milliliter blender.
Okay.
Then I add the nicotine
Okay.
by weight because it's the most accurate there. We've already got it calculated out what you need for 3, 6, 12, 18, 24.
Okay.
I'll add it there, and then whether it's a high VG or a 50-50 blend, I'll add the rest of the PG and VG, cap it, and then we turn it on high, just as high. And blend it until it's nice and aerated. I mean, you'll see the change in the color. It may
Right.
go in this brown, but by
Okay.
the time it's done blending, it's this creamy, just tan beige color.
Right.
And
Because
then
of all
as
the air that's mixed
Right.
in. It's all air bubbles at that point, right?
Right,
Yeah.
and then
Okay.
as the air comes out of it, you'll see it start to get darker and darker and
Okay.
darker again. So after that is done,
Okay.
it goes into the hopper over here, where of course I've got all the different size bottles. You dial it in through here. Notice all my little scratch marks because
Okay.
that shows what a 100 mil and a 50 mil and a 30 mil are.
Okay.
Got them marked off. But you just dial it in wherever you need to, and this has a sensor on the front. Y'all heard it go off earlier.
Mm-hmm.
The purple and orange lets it know when there's a bottle in front of it.
Okay.
And it automatically, for whatever I've got it set for, will fill up the bottle.
Okay.
From there, I will take my caps, tops, and get them all cap and top, keep anything else from getting in them. Then I usually move them over to the sink because as you're doing this, it's inevitable you're gonna get juice everywhere. I rinse them all off. So I can
Okay.
get all the juice off the bottle. Nobody wants a juicy bottle.
Right.
From there, I come over here and I can go ahead and print these.
Okay, so this is your printer, and we see these guys. Is it pronounced Cairo?
Kiara.
Kiara.
Kiara? People are, I'm known for my mispronunciation, so that's okay. All right, so this is the one of the major labelers that we see at all the shows. There's always a guy with this printer there.
Brilliant machines.
Yeah? Yeah, okay.
From there, our genius up front has got us set up to where we can do labels for whenever he's doing his new juices. He can put a customized label on it with a new name. And then we've got these right here.
Everything's database, barcoded.
I just go to print. The batch and lot number go in. I'm doing zombie blood. I just type in the Z and it brings it up. And I just did 6s. So I'll do that one.
So zombie blood, what's the flavor profile there?
Strawberry gummy bear.
Right.
And then I just hit print. It'll wake up and it'll start printing them out. If I'm gonna print bulk of them, they go on a spool.
They go on a spool
and it'll
first.
automatically wind them up, so I got a fool with it. But if I'm only doing 20 to 30 labels, I just grab them.
Okay.
It's no big deal. And from there, they go in the bottles.
There they come.
The bottles go in there.
That's pretty fast.
Oh yeah. I can print close to 1,000 labels in like 15 seconds, not like that, but it only takes about a minute tops.
Yeah, we have thermal tunnels on the way where we're going to start doing shrink wrap. I'm thinking about investing in another Kiara machine also because we're starting to do. There's a lot of local companies that make juice that are coming to us for labels now.
Okay.
So we're going to start doing white labeling and things like that in-house for other people.
With this facility, and I know that, so you have the floor space next to this building now at this point,
Right.
so you are gonna do some expansion, right? Have you seen others in the area show interest in saying, hey, Jeremy, you're doing things the right way, would you be willing to mix our liquids for us?
It's been talked about with a couple of the companies.
Okay.
I don't think, the ones that we're talking to are just now starting. So they haven't quite gotten there financially yet to be able to outsource their project. And I don't think there's not enough volume there to outsource it to a lab.
Right.
But yeah, I personally would love to take on other projects, work with other companies, get them in here, just for the simple fact of we've put so much into our space, and we know that if we're not there yet as far as the certification goes, we're well on our way, so we at least know that we're on the track of doing it the exact industry standard way that it should be. So I would love to have other people in here doing it as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, all this, the investment in here and doing things the right way. I mean, they could take advantage of that, and vapors can take advantage of that too, because I mean, we've walked this whole facility now at this point, and it's spotless. I mean, it is spotless, right? And thank you, DJ. That was awesome. I tell you what, if you're ever looking for another job, I have about 1,000 emails a day you can answer for me. She's good. She's really good.
So from the lab, we went into the back storage area, and I've never seen so many bins in my entire life. This is where all the flavors go, with all of the nicotine strengths, with all of the different PG-VG ratios, just literally walls of these bins. And then the e-liquids get pulled out of the bins, and the order processing takes place in this room here as well. So I talked to a couple of the employees in here.
How is it working here? Come on, turn around. Take a break for a second.
Awesome. I love
Everybody's with the awesome. Everybody's awesome.
everybody here is like a giant family.
Yeah. How long have you been with Good Life?
Almost 2 years.
2 years?
Almost 2 years.
Really? So you've been with him close to the start then, right?
Close to the start.
Did you do any apartment mixing?
I did not.
You did not? Did anybody here do apartment mixing? Did you?
Sandra did.
Sandra did? So you love your job?
I love my job. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
That's awesome. What about, are you a vapor?
Yeah.
Yeah? Oh, there you go.
My setup's right there.
Terrific. What's your favorite juice?
My favorite's Orange Blossom.
Orange Blossom?
Been vaping it for about a year now.
Okay, and who makes that?
Us.
So you were involved with apartment mixing.
I was.
So what was it like back in those days?
It was stressful.
Stressful?
It was very stressful, yes.
He was telling me stories about like boxes all over the place and like
Boxes everywhere. There was juice everywhere. I worked 8:30 to 5:30 every day. Left my job, went to his house, and went to work until 3 in the morning.
really.
It was stressful.
It was stressful.
I didn't sleep much.
So you've seen the growth from that to
From the
this.
shoebox to this.
From the shoebox, yeah. We're gonna talk about the shoebox. We got the pictures. We're gonna want to see the pictures. So pretty amazing. It's like the American dream. It really is, right?
Yes.
So now it's just a matter of maintaining that and hopefully getting the FDA off of our backs, or at least making them understand that what we're doing here is really important, and try not to put so many obstacles in the ways of not only the companies that are doing this, but the people who are vaping and know that they're leading a healthier lifestyle. So cool. And it's your fault that my plane was diverted too.
Sorry.
It's all right.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I was looking out for you.
Yeah, see what happens.
So you heard a couple things there. You heard apartment mixing, and you heard the shoebox. So finally, I got Jeremy out of the labs and the stock room. We went to his office, and I had a little interview with him. And here's how that went. And now you'll find out about apartment mixing and the shoebox.
Take me through where you started and where you are today, because it's a pretty big difference, right? I mean, when I tasted, so we just took a look at the facility, and when I tasted Melon Boba and I did that review video, Good Life Vapor looked a whole lot different than it does today, huh?
Yeah, a dramatic change, I guess you would say. The reason I started vaping was a girl.
It's always a girl, isn't it?
She didn't like the way that I smelled, or whenever she kissed me, it tasted like cigarettes. So she said, "Quit or no more kisses." So I quit, and on day 3, I was just going out of my mind. I had to have a cigarette. And a coworker of mine at the time said, "You need to try electronic cigarettes."
Now, what year was this?
This was early 2012.
Okay.
And I said, and at the time I was waiting on a paycheck, so I didn't have the money to just go out and spend. I think the only store in town sold the kits for a little over $100 for an ego kit. And he brought in a Cigalike the next day, and I sat at my desk just chain vaping all day long until it died. And somehow I scrounged up enough money to go and buy a kit. And I remember I got this peach flavor. And that's what I started with. And my sister tried it. She's like, "Oh my God, it's disgusting." It was decaying peach. And,
Yeah, that's funny because that's where I started too. Decaying peach and watermelon, yeah.
And tasted nothing like peach. It just, it hit the spot when it came to satisfying my need for smoking.
Right.
So from then on, I never smoked a cigarette again. And all I had locally was decaying. I wasn't even aware at the time that there was an online presence for vaping or juice. And I remember finding Pink Spot online. The first vendor I ever found, their website just made it look amazing, you know. Like, oh, watermelon wave, and you know, all these awesome flavors. So I remember I put in an order for a sample pack, and I got them all. And I liked some of them, but I didn't understand that you had to steep juice, and I didn't know anything. You know, I was using a C for whatever it was at the time that burnt every time you tasted it, and the cartomizers, I didn't know you had to punch them, and so you know, I didn't know anything about YouTube reviews or anything like that, and it was kind of like going through the process on my own. I made cigarettes on my own for myself. I rolled my own cigarettes. I've made my own beer before. I've made my own liquor before. You know, everything is kind of a DIY project for me. Whenever I pick something up, I have this bad habit of putting 100% of my brain into whatever I'm doing. I think it comes with being a former musician, that perfection side of things. So I'm always searching for the perfect way to do whatever I'm into. And vaping was no exception. I started to understand that you can make your own juice. And I started doing my research, found YouTube, and there were, I think, 1 or 2 videos out there about DIYing at the time. I think I'd never used a calculator. I never used a DIY calculator, and I found the DIY group on Facebook. And I come from the school of, if you don't ask a question, you don't get an answer.
Right.
So I was all over that group, just constantly asking questions, bugging the hell out of everybody I could to try to get some knowledge on how to make my own juice. And I eventually got a shoebox worth of materials for myself. $150 investment from maybe 3 vendors, $50 each, you know, bottles, nicotine, PGVG, and then flavoring. And I came up with 4 flavors. My first 4 were watermelon bubblegum, grape bubblegum, strawberry bubblegum, and apple bubblegum.
You're really into the bubble gum.
It was, remember when you played baseball or you wanted to go to baseball games, they had those little flavors of, it was the purple wrapper, the green wrapper, the red wrapper, and the blue and yellow wrapper. That was what I based it on. And I started to organize meets in town, trying to get people to come out that, I found more vapors, basically. You know, we all started to get together and having meets where we traded devices, information, juice. And I started to bring my juice to these meets, and people wanted it. I had no intention of selling it. I was just bringing it to the meet saying, hey, try it. And eventually, the demand got so much in town that I'm working out of a 1-bedroom apartment making juice, and I would have people knocking on my door, you know, 12 to 20 times a night. My neighbors thought I was a drug dealer. Because the people would come in and, you know, and I'd make their juice for them and they'd put in the order, or they'd call me, put in the order, and I have it already made. But I'd have it in plastic bags, so they give me the money, I give them the juice. And
Oh yeah, you look just like a drug dealer.
yeah. According to my neighbors, I'm the worst person on the block.
Yeah.
You know, and my landlord contacted me, which I grew up with her, and she said, "What are you doing?" I said, I'm making juice. She said, making juice? Like, well, orange juice stuff? No, like electronic cigarettes. I'm making my own juice and people locally are buying it. She said, well, you need to figure out a way because your neighbors aren't happy.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up moving from the back one-bedroom apartment to the front right by her office, 2-bedroom apartment. She knew what was going on, so she was cool with it. And I worked as an IT guy for forever on the Marine base here in town. And it eventually got to where I had 2 employees working at home while I was at work doing IT stuff. And actually I was doing customer service stuff while I was at work.
Right.
And you couldn't move in the apartment. 2-bedroom apartments stacked to the ceiling with boxes of bottles, flavorings, and the whole kitchen. We made a rule where you can't cook in the kitchen. Couldn't use the laundry room because that was storage for materials, and it was like this makeshift lab.
So even back then, when you were in the apartment, you were actually trying to do things the right way.
Yeah.
I mean, you had the hair nets, the booties. I mean,
Yeah.
even in the apartment,
It's
right?
all about safety. Like we knew that there were people out there that were doing it under prime conditions. Even though we didn't have the money to do prime conditions, we still tried to make it as safe as we possibly could.
Right.
And I think that stems from reviewers, like yourself, you hear in the review that they wanted to know where it was made.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that fear of being called out,
Right.
So eventually we had raised enough capital to where we can go and rent a commercial facility. And it was a small 2,000 square foot place to where we put in nice floors and we painted the walls and we had stainless steel tables, and we tried again to make it as best as we possibly could. And we also opened a store up front. And the store was a 400 square foot room that had, I think, 2 cabinets in it and a register, and we had one girl that was up front running it. The store ended up turning into where lines were out the door, and
It's amazing.
people were just begging to get in and get the juice. And so that 2,000 square foot facility became a 4,000 square foot store, and then a 12,000 square foot lab warehouse where we are now.
Right.
And the warehouse and the lab was an open slab. There was no walls here. There were nothing. Actually, there's no ceiling. Also, it was just up to the ceiling. So we brought in a contractor and we built out and blueprinted the lab and how we wanted to do it. And we got on the phone with some people that know how to do labs, and we got the right kind of floors and the right kind of walls, the right kind of ceilings put in. Tried to take every precaution that we could to make it a for real deal lab in the process of being an ISO certified lab.
So you're working towards ISO certification right now?
Yeah, the ultimate goal is to be ISO 6 certified.
Okay.
And that's what we're working towards now. We're in the process, right now we're in the SOP process of documenting every procedure that we do within the lab.
Okay. So what about, there was the whole DIAP scare going on, and how are you doing with like getting your liquids tested for that? So what steps are you taking to ensure that you've got good quality, safe liquids?
The main concern off the bat was deadly sin, because it is such a big seller.
Right.
And it outsells everything in our line, times 10 every day. And so we worked with Chris Hughes up in New York, right? He's in Pennsylvania, actually.
Okay.
And he sold it in his shop, and he went ahead and got it tested and sent us the results. The results came back fine. It was well within the safe levels. And we're working with the lab that verified all the artist collection juices.
I think that might be Entropy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
okay.
we're working with them. We're in the process of working with them to get our top 10 done, and then from there we're going to do every quarter. We're going to do a portion of the line until the line's finished.
Okay. So you're all
hopefully by
working.
year's end we'll be done with all of our testing.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's graduated slowly over the past 3 years to be what it is now. So we have 2 stores now, and we have one in Albany and then one in Americus, Georgia, which is about 45 miles away.
Okay.
Small college town, small market. it's a challenging market.
Mhm.
Same way Albany was. You know, we built this market from beginning vapors to where now there's a community, multiple stores, multiple companies within the region, and it's kind of humbling to take a look back and see where things come from. You know, I never thought I would be an owner of a company. I never thought I had the ability to be that.
So that was going to be a question. I mean, could you have imagined when you started off with your $150 shoebox to where it would be today? I mean, it's the American dream, right? I mean,
Absolutely. I remember putting in my first large order for materials. And by large, I mean my first $20,000 materials order. I remember I got sick. I had to leave for the day because it just made me sick to my stomach that I spent that much money on materials, because everything we did was make it or break it. You know, we never went halfway. We always said, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it all the way.
yeah.
And to kind of look back and see how we made the right moves at the right time, and I find myself doing cost analysis now, and you know, sitting back and doing projections and doing the CEO job, you know, and I'm reading books on CEOs and how to be a better leader for my team and things like that. And I'll take a second every now and then to take a step back and go, like, what the hell am I doing? Doesn't make any sense.
How about the name Good Life? Okay, did you come up with the name Good Life? And I mean, what does it represent for you?
Good Life Vapor comes from the city. Albany is known as the Good Life City.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So yeah, it was kind of one of those where we're tossing around names, and the whatever girlfriend I had at the time, you know, I'm bouncing names off of her, and of course when she doesn't react or she ignores me, it's not a good one. So I said, Good Life City, Good Life Vapor. It has a ring to it. I said, yeah, it's all right. I said, oh, whatever, I love it. And I started to write down on a piece of paper, and for some reason I'd always write a little smiley face next to it. You know, and then the guy that designed our logos, I didn't even tell him about the smiley face. And I said, just come up with something. I like green. Green's my favorite color. Something green, because to me green represents happiness. It represents peace. Now I'm big on colors. You know, no red. Whatever you do, don't put red in there.
Okay.
And he designed the logo as it is now. We still use it to this day, with the drop with the smiley face in it. I said, wow, I always drew a smiley face. It's ironic.
So that was completely by accident, right?
Completely by accident.
No kidding.
Coincidence.
How about that?
And our logo has always reminded me of Subway. You can see any part of the logo and know that it's Good Life.
Right. Right.
So that's what I love about it.
So you told me a little story about your mom and how your mom was kind of against this at the start, and obviously she's changed her tune at this point. Tell me a little bit about that.
I wouldn't say she was necessarily against it. She was just very critical of it, you know.
Right.
Because throughout my life, I've always had these ideas, you know, of making it.
Yeah.
You know, coming up as a musician, I ruined my high school career by being a musician. I cared more about going and playing music than I did about studying in school. So to her, this is another one of those habits that I'm throwing myself into that's
Right.
not going to work out in the end.
Yep. Just a fantasy, right?
And I remember telling her early on, like, just believe me, I'm making real money off of this. Like, you know, like $200, $300 a day at the time, selling out of my house. And I don't think she knew it was real until we when I got involved with Enjoy. We did a party in Vegas to celebrate the launch of Enjoy, of the artist collection, and I brought my mom with me. And she said, why would you bring me to Vegas? I said, because I want you to see that this is for real. And once they played the video that they did, that's where they showed us the video for the first time. My mom's just bawling, crying, I'm so proud of you.
That's terrific.
So
man.
yeah, and it became real at that point.
Yeah.
And I have my family's 100% support now. My dad's a vapor. He comes and hangs out at the shop, and he'll sit there for hours on end. This is amazing.
So they're proud.
Yeah,
And rightfully so. Rightfully
they
so.
love it.
So that's a good segue. So you mentioned Enjoy and the artist collection. How did you get involved with that?
I'm good friends with Daniel from PBusardo.
Yep.
And I think we've for a long time we've had mutual respect for each other. I love what he does. I love his staff. I'm a big fan of his juice. We actually sell Namber juice in our shop. And for some reason my relationship with his staff at Meats got back to Daniel, and then we met by having the same CPA. So now it's become kind of a family. There's the PBusardo family and the Good Life family, and we meet up at Meats. We always hang out with each other the entire weekend. We go and I go to their Christmas party, they come to our Christmas party, and we'll go and have a vacation together every now and then, to where my staff gets to hang out with their staff. And it's just become this very tight-knit relationship with those guys. And since Daniel spearheaded the project with Enjoy, I think we automatically got put into the running. But with getting put into the running didn't mean that you got picked. Your juice had to make it.
Right.
So we submitted 2 flavors to be included, and one of the flavors became Samba Sun. So then apparently it got rave reviews from the people that picked the artist, and just got asked to be a part of it.
And tell everybody what the flavor profile is on Samba Sun.
It was meant to be a citrus creamsicle. I wanted a different take on a creamsicle. I wanted more of an apricot, cutie, orange type. I didn't want it to be like a typical orange and cream. I wanted it to be something that kind of morphed into a marshmallow rather than a cream. So it's a funny juice too, because it was what I call a bubble juice. I'll have writer's block every now and then to where I can't come up with a new juice. And that was one that broke the bubble. And the flavors were so odd, and I didn't think that they would work together. But then it became a shop favorite, around here. And then whenever it came up we need to put in for the artist collection, it was the first one. We didn't think about it. That was the first one that we sent.
So was there any fallout? Was there any negativity from the community that, like, maybe they said, oh, you're a sellout because you're going with Android? Did you hear any of that stuff?
You hear mumbles and grumbles, like, from reading things every now and then. But I'm not one to go and dig into reviews and dig into the hype.
Right.
I've always been a proponent of if my product speaks for itself.
Right.
And when it comes to the Enjoy project, I backed up what Enjoy did, like learning about how they had their little bout with the FDA and how they're not big tobacco and how they're totally for the abolishment of traditional tobacco cigarettes.
So, with all of this, from the $150 shoebox to where you are today, what's been the biggest challenge that you've had to take on personally, or
owning the role of being the owner, giving up the reins to my staff and the trust for them to do what I worked so hard to develop.
Right.
Mixing countless hours and moving from not mixing to being the boss, to go out on the road to promote the product, to be able to sit back and strategically come up with ways for us to constantly evolve and be successful.
Right.
That was the hardest part. I remember at some point a fellow owner sitting down with me and saying, you got to slow down. Like, you're doing everything. You're not letting your staff do anything. You're not letting them take the responsibility and you're not letting them grow.
Right.
And it was one of those Yoda moments where I was like, you're right.
Yeah. All right. So, how about how do you feel about what's coming from the FDA? What steps are you taking? Where are your nerves with that?
My nerves, my feelings towards the FDA are in the future right now. I'm worried about it, as every vendor should be, but it's so up in the air on a federal level that we don't know what's going to happen. You know, the best we can do is just hope for an agreeable end to where both sides benefit. I don't see it happening that way.
Right.
But I do see that we are creative enough industry and we've gotten this far on innovation and creativity that hopefully we can survive somehow. We can figure out a way to keep going. Aside from that, my daily worry is on the state level, local and state level. We are part of the Georgia Smoke-Free Association.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you know, we're neighbors in Tennessee with Dimitri, you know, and he's helping us with your boyfriend.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, him. I forgot about him. Yeah.
He's helping us get the Georgia Smoke-Free Association, you know, he's trying to help us get that organized to where we can fight on a state level. We
Good.
can have a lobbyist on a state level and hopefully create it to where we're not lumped in with tobacco like the situations that are going on in California and Washington.
Yeah, unbelievable.
And it's a scary, scary situation right now. It's a very volatile situation to where anything can change at any given day.
Right.
They can drop a bill overnight and we wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
You know. So my worry daily is definitely on the state and local level and hoping that Georgia doesn't get the wrath of California and Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And on a federal level, eventually we're gonna have to organize, and there's gonna have to be vendors and vapors coming together to fight a very large fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
A very scary fight against people that could care less about saving lives.
Yeah. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Frustrating as hell. So what's next for Good Life Vapor? What do you got? What do you got coming?
Well, we're constantly developing, you know, new flavors and new things like that. I think what's coming for Good Life is that our focus has shifted more in the past 6 months of being, we are retail focused at all times, but we've become more wholesale focused. We have a goal in place right now to meet a very large number in order to be a main contender in shops.
Mm-hmm.
We want our juice to be on every shelf that it can be in every open system shop that we can be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's our focus right now. You know, we have a sales team on hand that is out there and getting the job done as far as wholesale goes. So for us, it's about getting our juice into as many hands as possible.
So, Jeremy, thanks for having me out here. Thanks for showing me the facility. I'm looking forward to going to the shop now and meeting some vapors. And I wish you nothing but the continued success and the best of luck with all of this, because I think you're one of the good guys out here, and I think you deserve it.
I appreciate it. Appreciate all the support that you've given us over the years too. And it's the community as a whole has pushed us to be what we are. You know, we always want to be a star in the community that stands. We have no gimmicks behind our company. In my opinion, the fact that we're a completely transparent company is what I'm most proud of.
Yeah.
And you know, it's reviewers and customers and shops that keep you honest. So as much as, you know, you're grateful towards us, we're grateful towards you and the community for keeping us honest and keeping us transparent.
All right. Thanks, pal. Okay, now you can load up my truck with Deadly Sin.
And no, he didn't fill up my truck with Deadly Sin, but when we did go back to the shop, I did try a whole bunch of Good Life Vapor e-liquids, and I made him charge me for several of these. There's this here mini skirt, outside of the typical reference. This is going to be a honeydew and honeysuckle. Nice juice right there. This orange blossom, you would think kind of like a just a standard fruity orange. No, this is like a muffin with blood orange. It's really good. This Southern Shine is a good apple pie with kind of like this bourbon back end on it. Very, very nice. My Boy Blue, this is kind of a blueberry custard that I enjoyed. And then these two, Beach Bonfire and Tahitian Pearl. These two are kind of just like fruity, but predominantly coconut. And I always have a hard time with coconut vapes because coconut is, for me, a lot of times it comes across as incensey. These are kind of like nice, smooth, coconutty vapes. And I actually have the Beach Bonfire and this here Squape right now on the SX Mini, still playing with the temperature control. And I'll tell you, I'll show you exactly how it tastes. It tastes like this. That's how it tastes, and it tastes pretty good. Now, should you want to try some Good Life Vapor e-liquid, you may notice up here in the corner here, underneath the website, it says The Good Life. That's going to be a coupon code for you guys. All right, so he's allowed me to give this to you. It's going to be good for 10% off of all Good Life e-liquids and apparel. Okay, unfortunately, it does not include the artist collection. So that coupon code right there, The Good Life, is going to get you 10% off of your order from Good Life Vapor. So then we hung out at the shop for a little while, met a whole bunch of vapors there. Nice shop, big shop. Obviously, a whole bunch of e-liquids for you to try there, a bunch of hardware. Really comfortable couches. They even recline. Big TV there for you too. So check them out. Do check them out because I think they're some of the good guys out there. Good guys like Good Life. Good guys, Good Life. Good Life Vapor. So that's the end of this video. I actually have to go back into that back office now and start vaping some sub-tanks some more. And I got something else to try out here. And we'll get back into the reviews tomorrow. Okay, guys? So that is it. I hope you enjoyed the look at Good Life Vapor. As always, you guys, thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you again soon.
Can I taste your juice?